Hello. Hi, John. It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you, Angie.
We're going to get right to it here, folks, because, as it turns out, we think that maybe we talk too much in the beginning and you check out before we get to the good stuff. So,
No more checking out. That's the
no
rule.
more checking out, please, and hit like while you're at it if you have a mind to. Anyway, have you ever had a bad day or had an altercation? Altercation might not be the right word, but confrontation or something of that sort where you were angry, mad, sad, depressed, whatever it was, and you just kind of decided, I just want to stay this way for a while.
Right. Any attempt to kind of think, how can I get out of this, is just shut down immediately. Like, no, I'm enjoying is not the right word.
No, it's
But
not, but I know what you mean.
It's like I'm
comfortable.
I'm crabby and I'm upset at life and I'm just gonna be that way right now. And don't you try and cheer me up.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
I want, part of what we wanted to talk about here today was the power of breath. So I'm going to tell the story of, what happened with me yesterday, and then we'll take it from there and see where it goes. But I want everybody to understand that breath, I mean, aside from the fact that 100% we cannot live without it, I mean, there's a lot of things we can live without. Breath is not one of them. It has such healing power. And I had a series of unfortunate events yesterday that just led from one thing to another to another. And I really feel like there's a very good possibility that my energy was kind of out of control and it was causing things to sort of go haywire, which has been.
Tell a few of those things because they're kind of funny.
Oh, okay. Oh, fantastic. So the lock on my door, on my patio door broke and I was locked in the house. Well, not really because we have other doors, but the door that the dog wanted to go out, that broke. So I had to unscrew that and then go around outside and wrench it off with a screwdriver. And then I went to do some other work and my keyboard went kaput. In fairness to that old keyboard, it was 9 years old, but
still whatever. It broke at the same day.
Yes, the same day. I am not including any stories about my husband in this conversation, but let's just say he contributed to it a little bit. Because he and I sometimes don't see things the same way. And then when I was getting ready to get on Zoom and do yoga, I had my hair up and on top, and I was going to hit it with one of those clips. I don't have one because
hair clip.
As you can imagine, I went like this, and it went, and it exploded. Like half of it shot across the room. So I was really bent out of shape, and for whatever reason, when I sat in the chair to start, I logged on to Zoom for yoga. I sat in the chair. And as we were getting ready to settle in, I'm sitting on the chair. I thought to myself, I think I really just want to stay mad for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yep. And you're like, what the hell is that all about?
Like, yeah. Why would you want to do that? This doesn't feel good. Like, why do I want to be that way? Nope. But I was really resistant to it.
Yeah, it's the resisting. That's what it is.
Yes. Like I'm hanging on to it like it's an old friend or something. I or you feel wronged and you want to hang on to that mad because you feel like the world deserves it or something.
Okay.
When in fact it's like drinking poison, right? And expecting the other person to croak.
Right.
So I say, and I have to say that the yoga teacher that I have is really amazing and intuitive, and she kind of tunes into the room and figures out what people need. And so as I sat and, we settle in, always start with breath work. Yoga is all about breath. She said, now we're going to do a new breath exercise that we had never done before. And it was breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and then out for 8. So inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is different. I don't know what the deal is with it. But by the time I got to the 3rd repetition, all that anger was gone. I felt great. And I managed to get through the rest of the practice without any issues, which I think is amazing. So, if you know anything about me, or if you've seen my channel, Angie's the XOH, or been in any of my meditations, almost all of them start with some kind of elemental breath work,
Right.
whether it's the etheric breath to create the stillness, or the earth breath for grounding. Sorry, things get distracting. So I know the power of breath, and yet it didn't occur to me to use it.
Right. Okay. So that's like point number 2 that I want to hang on to, because I have my own story about the situation.
Well, I mean, that for the moment, right? For the time being, that's just it. The rest of the day got better from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact is, we are in control of our state of mind, right?
I know.
Like,
I know. Whether we acknowledge it at the point or not.
and I 100% understand. No, I just want to stay mad for a while. I get it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
But that is, I think, I don't know if I said it now or if I said it earlier, that is kind of that whole thing about drinking the poison, right? And expecting someone else to die.
Yeah.
Expecting the other person. That anger is not good for you. It's not good for your energy. It's not good for you physically.
Although I think the point can be made that sometimes you just need to sit with that anger and ride it through.
Right.
And I think what it is there's going to be a point where either you are surprised by the breath work that got you out of it, or in my case, I was surprised by someone who I had to have a meeting with, who kind of said, I don't even remember the word she used, but it was, the effect of it was, you're just going to be here as long as you need to, and then you're going to come out of it. And so I guess my point is that if we're beating ourselves up for staying angry, maybe we can lay off that a little more gentle with experiencing an unpleasant emotion.
Oh, that makes sense. See, I wasn't beating myself up.
I was
enjoying it. So
that's true.
This is two sides of the same coin, right? Like this is the Angie that says you never play games with anyone unless you know whether or not they play better than you do, and I play better, right? Like that's the there's retribution to be had in this situation, which of course is not how I want to live my life or in any way, shape, or form these days. But there is that merry-go-round that you get on, or the hamster wheel that gets you thinking in that way. The sad thing is I wouldn't beat myself up about it until it was all over.
Oh.
And then I would look back and I would go, look at the time I wasted on that.
Yeah.
So it's not happening to me in the moment, which doesn't make it any less valid in one way or the other. And I'm sure that listeners can relate either to you or to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, so this is one of those really great examples where having the two of us here and having a conversation it can be really empowering for people that are listening. If you've listened this long, please go ahead and hit that like button while you're at it.
Mm-hmm. Subscribe too, please.
Yeah, right. There you go. Now, so, and you don't have to go into really too much of what it was, but
yeah, I want to give a little more detail.
What was it that made you, like me, I just had, my energy was out of control and shit with, pardon my French. This is YouTube, though. You can say that, I found out from Alan Cumming, by the way, but whatever. Stuff was just happening. I was not, didn't set myself into the right frame of mind to begin my day. And then all of a sudden my energy's all out of whack and goofy stuff is happening. Like, who has the door locked? You just open the lock.
Right.
Like, how does it break off?
How does it break?
What is that all about? The keyboard I get, like, I've been ignoring the signs for a couple of months already because I didn't want to,
They do give signs. That's for sure.
But the clip, like the clip, it was just crazy stuff.
Right.
So I didn't have, I didn't really have any anything to me that was a perceived slight or perceived as somebody. out to get me, so to
Right,
speak.
right,
So
right.
just curious, like what set you in that?
Sure. Okay, so here's what happened. Mine was a long, slow burn. And so,
Ooh.
yeah, it was a couple weeks where two things were happening. Number one, so, I'm a business owner. I run my own business. I make my own money. I charge my own rates. And every business has ups and downs. Well, that was a down week and another down week and another down week. And I'm like, what is going on here? Not only do I run on my own business, I teach others how to run their businesses. And when things are not going well, then I'm like, what is the universe trying to tell me? And it's just not fair, right? And then when I'm getting angry and upset and depressed about it, the other comment that was happening inside my chatty little head was, John, you're writing a book about happiness. What are you doing being unhappy and being unable to get out of it? I'm like, just like, all right, all of you, I'm not talking to anybody, right? And so it was a real frustration that led to kind of an anger and depression, which led to even more because I'm not supposed to be that guy, right? So yeah, right. There's all kinds of juicy stuff to work with there. But that was
There is, because naturally the intuitive energy worker mind in my head starts just like
Yep.
the tax guy turns on, this turns on as well. But go ahead, go on.
So I think one thing I did is I reread. I have a list of 10 things that 10 truths that I know to be true about happiness in life, and that reading that again was like, oh yeah, that's true. And I don't remember which one exactly it was that made me go, all right, just let it go. I believe it was, I think it was let it go, right? We suffer twice, right? You suffer twice when you're angry about suffering. The first time is when you suffer. The second time you suffer is being angry about it or resisting it.
Right.
So realizing that I was suffering twice because I was getting annoyed about it made me go, all right, just let it go. Let's take a step back. And then it was just breathe. So I had been neglecting my evening yoga practice for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I thought, I think I'm just going to do one. And that was part of the slope up and out of the.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yoga is a big deal.
I know it is.
For our minds. So, and at some point we can have this conversation on the show, but I'm going to start with happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. You can choose to be, happiness is easy to come by. You can think about puppies, right? Like, so even though what I'm trying to get at is don't be so hard on yourself, right? Because there were other things at play here, and you could have chosen to be happy in that moment, but what is the reason? Why didn't you want to? My guess would be that there's a substantial amount of overwhelm involved.
Sure. Yep.
Which can, no matter who you are, can cloud your judgment, cloud your vision, cloud your connection, cloud your, almost interrupt your thread, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely felt things were interrupted.
Right.
And spiraling, kind of spiraling down. I mean, not in a, rock bottom sort of way, but, one thing kind of led to the other. And I'm like, there was an overwhelm and a frustration, like, all right, forget it. I'm just, I'm done. Right.
And so part of, so this is interesting. So part of all of that is getting to that place where, and I've been fortunate enough to have this most of my life. I don't fluster. Right? I don't fluster. I was known, like when I worked in restaurants, I remember hearing, owners saying, oh, she doesn't fluster. Like, I don't fluster, right? Because I don't see the value in it. I think it's a time waster, right? So
Yeah.
so there's that. But and this is the issue, I think. Back in the day when I was a waitress or whatever, what was coming my way was coming my way pretty much. I didn't understand that I had control over that. And so that part of it didn't really matter. The more you work with energy, the more you work with a connection to the divine, the more you work with that, the more connected you are to that law of attraction. And that is where you have to be careful when you're on a slippery slope, because what can happen is now you're overwhelmed, you're angry, you're upset. You have to be careful that you pull yourself out, because you don't want to attract more to be overwhelmed, angry, and upset over. There's that.
Yep.
But then if you can't get out of the habit of being hard on yourself, being upset with yourself for feeling that way, now all of a sudden you attract more, right? You attract more to be overwhelmed, angry, and upset over, but you also attract more to be unhappy with yourself about.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a true slippery slope.
Yep.
And it really is like you need some kind of trigger for yourself that says, snap out of it.
Yep.
Right?
Let me tell you what it was. I remember what it is now. So have you ever seen the Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale? They have this list of emotions from the very top.
Oh, is that funny that you say that? Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
I saw it today in my memories.
Oh, cool.
On Facebook.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we can't make this stuff up.
No, we can't. In fact, keep talking. I'm going to find it, because I think what I wrote about it was pretty.
The top is joy. The next one's passion, enthusiasm, and all the way down. The bottom one is powerlessness, despair, and desperation. And the way in a number of their lectures, and probably many of their lectures, they say if you find yourself at a certain point with a troubling emotion, you cannot get from overwhelm to joy. It just isn't but you can get from overwhelm to what's just above it. So on the list here, what's just above overwhelm is frustrating. Like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't handle it. Well, can you get to frustrated? Okay, I can let go of the overwhelm and just stay frustrated. Okay, good. Okay.
Or I can choose to be happy, right?
But for me, what it was like, I can get from overwhelm to frustration. I can get from frustration to pessimism. I can get from that to boredom, to contentment.
Oh my gosh.
And one little step at a time was what got me out. And it's that incremental, yes, I can get to the next level up.
So the reason I wanted to go look it up is because I wanted to read what I wrote. And this was from 2019. So this scale has been around for a long time.
Long time, yes.
But what I wrote at the time was numbers 8 through 22 are the enemies of 1 through 7.
I would agree with that.
Think about it. 5 minutes of anger can cancel out a whole day of joy. Notice even then I use the word joy. Emotions are a byproduct of state of mind. Working through your crap may seem like emotions, but it is a byproduct of letting go. Just my take on the situation. So what I mean by that is, you have to be aware of your emotions and then work through them as they go. So you just gave a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So you work through the overwhelm. I'm not entirely sure that pessimism should be higher than overwhelmed.
Yeah, I know there's a little bit of
I think I did. But you know what? 8 through 22 are the enemies of 1 through 7. They just
I agree, and it's exactly that on my list too.
Yeah. So but the point is, you can't go to high school from kindergarten, right?
Precisely, 100%.
You can't go to high school from kindergarten. So yep. Wow, I can't even believe we're at the end already.
Oh man, we were just getting started.
I know, we were just getting started with this. So there is more to talk about with this. So I think people are going to have at me for saying happiness is a choice. But it is. I think joy is generated and happiness is happiness is a choice, right?
All right.
So and I believe that joy is a much more powerful emotion or energy
it's deeper.
than happiness.
It's innate. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so wow. Well, listen, thank you folks. If you made it this far, I mean, I'm not entirely sure very many of you do, but if you've made it this far, we really, really appreciate you. We love having these conversations for you, and we would really love it if you hit that like button and if you hit the subscribe button while you're at it. That way you'll get
Those two
notified
buttons.
and you'll see us in your YouTube feeds along with the Zelda videos on how to build machines. Oh no, that might be my YouTube feed, but it's all good. So thank you all so much, and we will talk to you, in the next episode. All right.
Bye, everyone.